This now is Congressman Mike Quigley, a Democrat from Illinois. He's on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, good to see you this morning. What does this tell you? The fact that President Trump has said that the U.S. was engaged in fruitful talks with Iran, that President Trump has said if Iran attacks, the United States would strike back, destroying bridges and infrastructure. What does it tell you that Iran felt emboldened to launch this surprise attack on U.S. forces?
I think they see the president the way we do, unfortunately, somewhat confused, lost, and somewhat desperate. I mean, at this point in time, what is victory? It seems when you look at the terms of the memorandum of understanding, where we got nothing, that I guess victory wouldn't be regime change. Victory wouldn't be the nuclear program ending. Victory right now would just be getting the Strait open, which it was when the conflict started. So at this point, it's a pipe dream to get to the point under President Obama where we had the JCPOA, where the Iranians were in compliance and not moving forward with the nuclear program. So I think the Iranians are emboldened. They're going to get restocked in their minds. They have time. And unfortunately, there's no way out of this conflict unless the president's willing to accept what can only be described as a humiliating withdrawal.
So CNN has a new poll out this morning looking at the president's ratings on various issues. I can put it up on the screen here. On Iran, his approval is just 28%. You can see it right there, underwater on a range of issues. But Iran, he's only at 28% approval. But in recent polling, in terms of which voters trust more on Iran, it's the Republicans. This is actually over time, but now Republicans are favored by 2 points on Iran. If it's going so badly, as you say, and if the president's approval is only 28%, why do voters still prefer Republicans than Democrats on Iran?
You know, I'm not sure how the question was worded, but I think they clearly understand with the top lines that this conflict is costing them already $70 billion in military costs, and that everything, not just gasoline, fertilizer, tomatoes, certainly buying a house, everything costs more. So if anything, this requires further discussions, education of the American people to understand this is exactly what they didn't want. Trump campaigned on no more wars and no inflation. He was going to end inflation. In one fell swoop, he went the opposite direction. We're stuck in a war that's going to be very difficult and expensive to get out, where U.S. service members have been killed, and that cost will be borne by the American people for years to come.
It's interesting, if we can put those issues back up on the screen there, you seem to focus most on the economy, inflation, and gas prices. And I can read these to you. Right there. The economy, the president's only at 30%. Inflation, the president's 25%. Gas prices at 21%. If it were up to you, if Congressman Mike Quigley could decide what Democrats run on November 3rd, which of those issues would Democrats most be talking about for the next 98 days?
Look, a past election for talk, it's still the economy stupid. It's still pocketbook issues. I talked to my colleagues across the aisle, and I think in 435 congressional districts, the issue is still affordability. What Democrats needed to learn from the Biden administration is you can't tell the American people how they feel. You can't tell them that the economy is great when it's not. Trump is repeating the Biden mistake. Democrats need to learn from that and focus on those pocketbook issues. Ending the war would be a good start, but working on issues like housing development at a dramatic rate, those are the kinds of things I think that will reverberate with the American people and help them understand. When I got out of college, the first time home buyer's age was 28. It's now 40, but for many Americans, it's never. And the fact that the president's tariff wars, his trade wars, and this war, it's only going to get worse.
Congressman, very quickly, you're on the Intelligence Committee. Politico has a story out this morning in their playbook that the acting director of national intelligence, Bill Pulte, is pressing to delay Jay Clayton's swearing in, or at least trying to stay on the job longer. That's according to White House official. Pulte's telling Trump he needs more time to finish his work. and all the tweets and things he's been doing lately is sort of pressuring the president to keep him on. Jay Clayton was approved by the Senate yesterday. What do you think about the fact that if Politico is right here, that he's trying to stick around for a little bit longer? Pulte.
Why he's there in the first place is just staggering. I think we are, frankly, a joke to the rest of the world, and it makes us less safe. Who trusted the former ODNI, who was clearly an inexperienced sycophant, who was a Russian sympathizer? So someone who has absolutely no experience running the agency that was formed after 9/11 to make sure we coordinated our intelligence, that we shared information, not just within our own community, but the rest of the world. So the sooner he's out, the better. The fact that he served any time at all was a dangerous embarrassment for our country.
Congressman Mike Quigley from Illinois, thanks for coming on this morning. Kate?
There's new video